Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time.
I'm going to a baseball game tomorrow, a Pride baseball game. I'm trying to send my friend the Venmo money for it.
Oh, nice.
We get Pride jerseys.
That's so cute.
I'm actually going to be missing like the Pride in Oxford because I'm going home tomorrow. So
You sound so bummed about that.
I love it.
I get it. We're going. RJ and I are going to local Pride in Kitchener, where I live, and so it's super chill and it's not like corporate-y, and so we are very much. And I don't know, Camille, you don't watch Drag Race. Matt, do you know who Denali is?
No, I don't. I mean, it's a mountain in Alaska.
That's correct. Yes, that's true. But Denali is a drag queen from RuPaul's Drag Race, and she's going to be performing. She's going to be one of the acts, and then they always have like local talent as well, so local drag queens, which makes me really happy because they're supporting local queer artists and communities.
That's good.
Yeah. So
like every Pride should.
Right?
Support your community.
Yes, exactly. Like one thing I hope with like all of this DEI bullshit and companies like pulling out their sponsorship, I hope it forces the queer community to start supporting each other. And like don't rely on corporate sponsorship. I understand why it's necessary. I understand that it's sometimes an easier way of getting money, but like you know,
I think the money is a big part because,
course,
like, for example, the Pride in San Francisco, it's mostly just a corporation with employee parade. Even if there's another like parade the day before, like for queer women. But like the Pride itself is kind of disappointing if you're not part of a specific group within a company, because otherwise you're just watching and that's it. I get it because it costs a lot of money to organize, but sometimes it's a bit sad.
Yeah. Well, when Target scaled back their DEI stuff, because Target's based in my city.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, Target's based in Minneapolis. And the Twin Cities Pride ejected Target from their sponsorship when Target canceled the DEI policies. And
I mean, they should.
Yeah. So they fundraised. So Target apparently donates $50,000 a year to the Twin Cities Pride. And so the Twin Cities Pride put out a call for donations from the community and like doubled it within a few days.
Of course, that's the thing. Like if grassroots things like that work, like if you put out a call for queer people to say like, hey, we want to keep doing this thing. I think a lot of different pride boards and organizers and whatnot, I think they would actually be surprised at how willing queer people, and not even just like queer people, just like other, like, you know,
people,
allies, and The thing is that with fundraising, I'm curious about when it's a one-time event because something else fall off. I feel like it's easier to fundraise because it's like, hey, it's a one time where we need your help. I think yearly fundraiser gets harder. Or it's like it's going to be a big thing for a moment and then people are going to forget about it, which makes sense, but it's
Yeah. It's like, and that's the thing, like, it's not, things like that it's not easy. You have to, because it's not just like, you just, like, you know, you ask for, okay, can we please get donations now? And then don't say, like, have no other contact with people throughout the rest of the year. It's like, you have to build that sort of trust and relationship, right? And that's not easy. That takes time and effort and dedication.
And I mean, it's hard to be the community sometimes. Like, I mean, with, so for Pride, we were supposed to do a lunch in Oxford. It's like there's a Wednesday in June where every team all around the world in my company are supposed to do something for Pride. And for us, we kind of wanted to have a lunch in Oxford. And the thing is that the company was like, yeah, but like let's try to support a queer-owned business, which like would be great. The thing is that I could not find a single queer-owned restaurant in Oxford.
Wow.
And like Oxford is not a tiny city.
It's not
like
small.
maybe there's queer-owned businesses, but they don't like say they're queer-owned. So then you can't really assume in a way. Like there's one bar, like one bar that has been there for decades. That is the cutest part. Like it's my favorite place in Oxford. Honestly, it's like honestly, it's a really chill pub and they have a nice garden too.
Oh, nice.
But like they don't do food, so it's like you can't really go there. So we had to figure something else because we were not going to go to another restaurant just to talk about Pride anyway. So it's hard sometimes to build community where you also don't really have community spaces.
It's very true. Or sometimes you don't you don't know, like companies may not advertise themselves as that.
Maybe we should just have this as our episode.
I know. I do love that we just like jumped right into like, like mid conversation. I am fine with that.
I mean, we're recording.
I know, we're recording,
Yeah.
but it's like we were in a conversation. Yeah. I mean, no, Matt started. I don't remember who started a conversation, but we started a conversation right when the recording button got started. But as always, thank you to our fellow Venators, Shireen. I'm just going to say that and then we can keep doing our conversation. Yeah. Thank you to Charlie, Lurks, John and Robert for the support. Always very much appreciated. Yes. Yeah. Do you still want to do your intro?
I mean, okay. So today there's no introduction because I wrote one for the kinks. We were going to do an Aja kink. We'll do that at some point. But I don't want to write another introduction because writing 2 introductions per day is homophobic and it's Pride Month. Therefore, yeah. No, I have my whole thing about corporations and Pride is I hate capitalism. Capitalism sucks. It's stupid. Some corporations are way better than others. Like mine has had like a LGBTQ employee network since the 90s. So like,
that's impressive.
We did not jump on the Pride bandwagon, and we are a federal contractor. So we did have to like rename our like diversity and inclusion stuff, which is bullshit. But like our Pride stuff hasn't gone anywhere. Like we have our DEI stuff hasn't gone anywhere. Like we have a very robust and diverse community of business resource groups. And yesterday, actually, my friend Jim started the inaugural Pride at Work gaming day.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That's fun.
It is, yeah. So like the business resource groups have like clubs within them. So we have a book club, we have a movie club, and now we have a game club. And we kicked it off by playing a game called Hues and Cues, which is really fun. It's like this huge board of like 500 squares of like a color. Like it's basically the color palette, like a rainbow color palette. And you pull a card and you can give a 1-word hint and people have to like guess the color. And it's a lot of fun. It's cooperative, but it's a lot of fun.
That is cool.
That's fun.
That sounds, I like that you have that with your company. My company, it's similar-ish as well. They have a Pride network. They've had one for years, certainly well before I started with them. And because I'm awkward, I haven't participated in any of the discussions.
Oh, you
there.
You should.
I know, because it seems I've heard people talk about it before, and it seems like it's very vibrant, and it seems like it's cool because the company I work for has bases, I guess you would call it, in different countries around the world, and so the network is global. And so you have people from the States, you have people from South America, you have people from Europe, you have people from Britain. Like it's global. And so I've I've kind of like lurked in there before and just to see the different conversations. And it's really cool. Like sometimes people will do meetups. They'll do I think they did like a Secret Santa, like a digital Secret Santa sort of
that's
thing
cute.
for Christmas. And so, yeah, like and there was no mention of them changing any of any name or anything like that when all of the DEI bullshit started, which was really encouraging. And there's always like a pride event of some kind. Last year they had Rainbow Railroad. I think that's what it's called. I think it's a Canadian organization. Essentially, they help relocate queer people from countries that are oppressive. And the sad fact that we got last year was that they started having to relocate people from the States to places that are safe. And I suspect that it's only gotten worse since then. But it was really encouraging. And, it's nice to see that the company I work for put time and effort into thinking, they gave the resources to the planning committee and everything like that and organized it. And so, it's again, I too hate capitalism, but sometimes you can find good intentions, good people within it. And it's nice that it sounds like we all kind of have.
Yeah. I mean, in my company, it's a bit tricky because technically, the company I'm in is not that big. It's like 2,500 people. So it's pretty reasonable size. But the thing is that we are also part of a bigger thing that is huge. I won't say the name, but it's very huge.
To put it mildly.
And the thing is that even if we are kind of split, like our actions are not the same, for example, there's still some things that sometimes we depend on them. And so when the whole DEI thing started in the US, like some of the rule for that bigger company changed. So we didn't know how it was going to impact us because I'm part of so we have a Pride at resource group and I'm part of the committee for that group. So yeah, we got a little bit of confusion at some point because the new DEI rule started 2 months ago, right when we are preparing for Pride Month.
Yeah.
So especially this year, we are doing our first Pride Summit. So people are going to meet up and talk about things. It's in the US, so I could have tried going out, but since I was on a work trip 2 months ago, I'm not going back right now. I'm still too tired. Not even 2 months ago. It was a month ago.
Yeah, I was going to say it's not even 2 months. Time is just not real.
So time is not real. Time is capitalism too.
Yes, exactly.
And so it was a bit tricky at first, but the thing is that we've noticed that within the company, our CEOs are still very supportive of the resource group, and we have various resource group, including the Pride one. There's still a head of DEI. Her job hasn't been suppressed or whatever, so there's still at least some support from the leadership. And but yeah, it's nice. So the company has been, for example, supporting the same queer charity for several years. So there's a charity in San Francisco who takes care of queer elders. So try to
that's nice.
Fight against the isolations that some queer elders can have. So we're regularly we have volunteer event when we can contribute in providing dinners and this kind of thing. So I'm happy that at least that part hasn't changed and there's still support from the leadership. For sure.
Yeah. I feel like people are starting to experience federalism, which is the system of governance that the United States has. Because all these international companies with different branches in some countries are very pro LGBT and some are very anti. So the rights that an employee has in one country may not be the same in another, and how that impacts how you interact with each other. So our company probably, I don't think they have changed. I mean, they may have changed their DEI stuff globally just to make it easy, but like I can guarantee you, yeah. But like the policies in our Canadian office and our UK office and our France office probably haven't changed at all.
I mean, the UK is talking about like it's crazy because it's labor in power, and now they're talking about like forbidding DEI or whatever it's called in the UK. I'm like,
UK is fucked up.
It's
what's the actual fuck? Like,
it's
people elected
mess.
Labour to not have the Tory once more, and now it's like, well, reform is increasing in polls, so I guess we're gonna do a reform program. And I'm like, reform hasn't won.
No, exactly. It's such an unbelievable slap in the face. It's such an unbelievable slap in the face, and it's a complete betrayal of trust either, because you're right, like, people specifically came out in, like, droves to vote in the Labour Party, so that...
Yeah, to vote against the Tory.
Exactly.
It was mostly a vote against the Tory. And now they're doing, like, whether it's, like, on social issue or on, like, economical issue, they're basically... do the Tory but worse. I'm like, that's not what you were elected for.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
Like, it's insane that it's under a Labour government that like trans rights are being reduced in the UK. Fuck you, J.K. Rowling.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, it's at its core, it's so fucking cowardly, because it's not even it's possible that some of them genuinely believe like, oh, these are not, you know, trans, they may agree that trans people should not have these rights and whatnot, but I think for a lot of them, they're just terrified to go against whatever they feel is the majority, which, like, what the fuck, what are you doing in politics then? Grow a spine or leave. Like,
yeah,
you know, what use are you then if you're not going to stand up for your constituents, to the people who helped to elect you, you know?
And it's insane too how much like the queer issues is such a big thing for those politicians, because when you talk to random person, like, they don't care about like what's the right of their trans neighbor or whatever. They just want like access to health.
Yeah.
Right.
They want to be able to make enough money to get groceries. Like, they want their children to be safe in school, or to, you know, to have like a good education. They just want normal things.
Yeah, this is how fuckers stay in power. They convince people that, oh, this other person is the real problem and not you. Like, and apparently J.K. Rowling donates a lot to the Labour Party, which, interesting. It's just, I hate spineless people left of center who decide that, oh, we want to get votes, so we have to appeal to the everyman. They must be transphobic. So they just lean into bigotry. And then they end up losing, and then the real bigots take power.
It's because, like, it's kind of a similar issue that we have with media. They're trying to please to everyone, instead of focusing on the people that would be interested by them and just, like, make them super loyal because you are completely feeling their interest. And I'm like... I mean, it's as if us, a queer podcast, we're like, we're not going to talk about queer stuff too much because we also want to attract to the straight.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, no, we don't care about the straight. No. It's fun. It's nice if some straight people listen to us. Mm-hmm. Like, it's great, and you should. Mm-hmm. But we're going to be talking about, like, things that somehow interest our community.
Exactly.
Or interest us.
Yes, exactly.
Here's the thing. Like, a cishet person who is not going to be bigoted is going to listen to us regardless of whether they're perceived as too far left or maybe they're gay or whatever. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, the real ones don't give a shit. They will listen anyways. And we have several cishet people in our Discord group, and they are fun, amazing people, and you never get the sense like, oh, we have to hedge our bets, or we have to hedge what we're talking about because this person, like, we have to get their approval. Like, no, it's like, they're in our space, they know that, and they're cool. Like, they're totally cool and chill, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, exactly. It's this desire to conform and to be for lack of a better word, liked by the majority, by other cishet people, and just desperately wanting the approval of them as well. And that is a losing game, because no matter what you do, it is never going to be enough for them. Like I always think, I don't know why I always think of this example, but from Enkimi, I'm sorry, I'm going to hurt your feelings for a second. In A League of Their Own,
oh, okay,
the TV show, one of the characters played by Darcy Carden is very femme presenting and is like outwardly like kind of flirtatious and whatnot. And she was behaving her, like how the sort of the facade that she puts up. And then she was criticized for that. And so even like she was told, oh, she has to turn it down. She has to change it. And so even if you present yourself in a way that you have been told in the past, this is going to be acceptable, this is palatable, this is what men or whoever the audience is, this is what they're looking for, there is always going to come a point where it's not enough. And so don't bother. The easy but also difficult solution is to just not try and be yourself and be authentically yourself, because it's so much better.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a French expression or if it also exists in English, but it's like if you give someone a hand and they take the full arm, it's basically you give something to someone and they take that thing and even more because it's never enough. And it's like, you have to understand that you're never going to please everyone, and some people you're never going to please them.
Ours is a very, well, the phrase that I know it's closest to that is super generational, and I don't know if it's just American or like US or if it's also Canada, but it's if you give a mouse a cookie.
Yeah, I've heard of that one. Or if you, like, I think another one that might be a little bit more, if you give an inch and you take a mile. Like,
yeah.
It's I think that's
that.
Yeah.
For our listeners, there's a picture book called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, and it's like, if you give a mouse a cookie, he'll ask for a glass of milk. And if you give him a glass of milk, he'll ask for a straw. And if you ask him for a straw, he's going to say, well, now I need a place to put all this. Like the mouse keeps asking for more and more until you have nothing left, which it's different lessons to be learned from a children's book. But
sure,
yeah, I find that, so we have several heterosexual, like cishets in my Pride at Work group. We have an allyship committee. And I think it's interesting that everybody, like every cishet person I know who is like balls to the wall supporting of the queer community has autism or a DHD or has a queer kid or something. Like, I feel like one of our biggest cishet allyship committee members, he's autistic, and he's like, this is the only organization where I feel like I don't have to hide or like present as quote unquote normal, because I feel like y'all just let me be who I am. So like it's like, just don't fucking conform. Who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about autism and like our neurodivergence and queerness, is that like autistic people do a lot of masking. And that's something that us queer people we relate to a lot, because we've been in many situations where we had to mask part of ourselves. So we don't want people around us to have to do that.
Yeah, I'd much rather and it doesn't mean that, maybe someone's like, who they are authentically, they might be an annoying person. I may not click with them personally, but I still, at the end of the day, I want you to be yourself. Like that's preferable. That's a much, much more preferable. And like at a certain point, the facade, it's grating. For lack of a better word. Like and you can start, especially if you are also part of a marginalized community, it becomes easier to spot it, I think. And it just, I mean, at the end of the day, it just makes me sad, because and I understand that is a lot of that behavior. It's like, it's a defense mechanism. It's to protect yourself. And it sucks that we have to do that. It sucks that we are constantly forced into situations where we have to choose whether I can be myself or if I need to put up the facade.
I hate that, like, and I don't know if it's because I've just gotten older and therefore the the crowd that I'm with is getting older, but like there's people, we love to put ourselves in categories and we love to set expectations for ourselves based on those categories. And there's a lot of performance in the queer community, or at least there was when I was in college. Like, oh, I am a gay male, therefore I have to be as feminine as possible. Because if I act, I'm not talking about me. I was like, fuck, I'll be whoever I want to be. But like, I knew some guys who performed either femininity, and I could tell they were performing it because there was a sense like, oh, like you owe it to the queer community to be as femme and as non-masculine as possible. And then on the flip side of that, you had guys who performed false masculinity, and like, whether you're butch or femme, that is totally cool. Like, you should be exactly who you are. But the thing is, you should be the authentic version of yourself. And like, that era of college taught me to like spot inauthenticity that the queer community sometimes enforces on itself. But again, I think that might just be with younger kids, not just like this generation, but like just younger queers in general. Like you've just found your community and you're finding yourself.
Yeah.
And sometimes
the finding yourself plays a big role in that, I guess.
Yeah. I think surprisingly, it's either younger queer people or it's from a generation older than us. Because I think with certain parts of that older queer generation, they also kind of get stuck in the rigidity of roles and how you present yourself, and you can either be this or you can be this. There's no in between. Because I've had conversations with actually someone that I work with. He is an older out gay man, and he's talked and like about sort of, I think he's in a better place now, but he's talked about his struggles and some of his other gay friends' struggles to understand people who are non-binary and to, like sort of reconcile that. And it's just like, oh, they just keep adding all these letters to the LGBTQ, like, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, okay, but why is it a bad thing that people are finding out new ways to show who they are? And new ways to sort of present themselves in a way that feels authentic and good. Like, it just feels good for them. Why is that a bad thing? And also, what does it take from you to try? At least try. Don't complain, just try. Because these are younger queer people that you're dealing with. You want them to have a better time than you had. And I know, like, he was a gay man in the 80s. I know there's a lot of trauma. There is a lot of trauma surrounding that generation. How could there not be? And so I think that's where some of that comes from, but
fear.
It's fear, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. And also sometimes like when you fought so hard to get accepted as you are, then yes, you should be happy that younger people may have an easier time. But there's a little bit of bitterness also sometimes because it's like, why was it not easy for me?
Why couldn't I have that? Yeah.
Why couldn't I have that? Yeah, I remember when Heartstopper first came out and I binged like the first season of it and I thought it was so delightful and so sweet, and it made me very happy that younger queer kids got to see versions of themselves on screen, and it was a super popular show. It made me so happy. There was also maybe not quite bitterness, but there was a sadness that I experienced as well. Yeah, like a melancholy. I was just like, I wish that I could have experienced that,
There's a little bit of like mourning your younger self that did not have this chance.
Yeah, it's going back briefly to the old people, like boomer trans people, man. Some of them are wild. Some of them have some wild opinions. I'm not going to be too emphatic with this since I am a cis person, but I did a legal name change. I worked for a legal clinic to help people change their legal names and their gender markers. And someone who was helping me, they were a few years younger than me, a trans person, and described themselves as non-binary. And they told me about just having this knockout, drag-out fight with a trans boomer who was like, I fought tooth and nail so I could transition from a man to a woman, and I got all my surgeries, and I'm a woman, and you're not going to call me they. And this person's like, whoa, nobody's saying.
I didn't say I was gonna.
No, this is good. And it's like, I just don't understand why you would, use the trans identity to like use non-existent genders. And this, it's like, oh boy. Boomers are still boomers sometimes.
Yeah, and unfortunately and they would hate to hear this, it's a similar thing that happens with, like, say, Christians, when you ask them, why are you so against gay marriage? It has nothing to do with you. Nobody is asking you to get married to someone of the opposite sex. And their response, well, it ruins the sanctity of marriage. What does that mean?
What sanctity?
What sanctity? Like what makes it? You know what I mean? It's this kind of same mentality that, like, one group gaining rights, gaining equality, somehow makes it less than for others. And it's false. It's not true. That's not the case at all.
Especially when you consider about Christian, for example. I mean, I'm more familiar with the Catholicism part of it, but like when you're talking about the sanctity of marriage, it's really because like it's about the church wedding and the wedding that is done in front of God in a way. That's the purpose of a church wedding. The civil wedding in the town hall, it's almost like, oh yes, we have this paper to fill. But it's not the important part when you're doing like marriage, a wedding in a Catholic family. It's like the church weddings that matters. And that part hasn't changed, even if like, I think it's the church my little sister's getting married to, like, there's always like a preparation you have to do in order to get married. And during that preparation, like apparently they do not church wedding, but like a celebration of the couple. So it's not a mass, because there's not specific element of a mass that makes it a mass that I don't remember because I'm a bad Christian. I don't care about Catholicism anymore. But anyway, like there's a difference between a mass and not a mass. So you can't have a mass for a gay wedding, but you can still have some sort of ceremony in that place, which I found was very progressive in a way, which I wasn't expecting. So
that's good.
This is why Protestantism rules. If you don't like the rules of the church, you just make your own.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a Catholicism place.
I come from, not to get into religion, I come from a Baptist background, and Baptists.
Hey, fellow Baptists. Sorry.
Yeah. Baptists have a justifiably earned bad rep, or Southern Baptists have a justifiably earned bad rap these days, and unfortunately that gets passed on to all Baptist congregations. But what people don't understand is that there are as many types of Baptists as there are letters in the LGBTQIA2S plus.
What was that, Matt?
I don't know. And like that's why I like, as far as like conceptually, I like Baptists, because like their whole thing is, if you disagree with the church's views on something, you split off and make your own. Like,
you just make your own denomination.
Yeah, like at one point in the 1990s, this Baptist church was like, we like gay people and they shouldn't be told they're sinners, so we're going to make our own pro-gay Baptist congregation. And now they have like a couple of hundred churches in the country. So like I don't know. I struggle with the idea of Catholicism's like, oh, I can't exorcise this demon because the old dude up in Italy says that we can't exorcise this twink or something. I don't know.
Twink.
Exorcise this twink.
I mean, don't worry. There's still like movement within Catholics.
Is.
Like, for example, there is some priests that are known to be a lot more to the far right than other priests, and then you just avoid them. There's still somehow some cultish kind of things within, like, I mean, I remember, like, the Opus Dei is in some place considered a cult, and so...
Yeah, I have a Catholic friend who told me that some Catholics do not recognize the current pope. Like they haven't recognized the last
that's not surprising.
3 or 4 popes. They claim that the Catholic Church hasn't had a pope since Vatican II.
Oh,
they're going
that's
way
a
back.
long time ago.
Oh yeah, no, these aren't like
My.
anti-Francis, anti-gay. Well, they are anti-gay, but like they
In a
believe,
different way, though.
like they're so hardline that they believe that Vatican II just like was a split, and that every pope since the Vatican II has been a false pope, and that there hasn't been a real pope since like the 1960s. Which is,
I mean,
Listen.
conspiracy theory are everywhere and about everything.
Listen, it's if you ever have the time, like doing like an audit on a course for church history, church history is fascinating. It is filled with drama, the twists and the turns it takes. When you get to the Puritans, my God, those
oof,
it's just
nutters.
It is fascinating, and it's fascinating watching the progression of church history, whether it's Catholic or Protestant or at the time before the breaking. But like it's also interesting because you understand just history in general better as well, and what sort of colors history, because like religion is so intrinsic in so much of what's happened.
A lot of like colonization and these kind of things. There's a lot of religion thing when we talk about like a very long time ago about everything regarding the Crusade and it's church involved. The reason why there's not a lot of Protestant in France, I mean, we killed a lot of them at the time. So, oops.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It really is, and like I still don't know where I stand exactly with religion. And when I say religion, I mean religion with a capital R, the institution of religion, because I think it's at its core corrupt. I think it's rotten to the core, and it will stay that way until people are able to acknowledge that and work on getting to the root of it.
I mean, they killed a rooster, for God's sakes.
What?
Okay. So today I learned
Jesus Christ.
in the 1400s, the Catholic Church, I think it was in Sweden or Switzerland, one of those S countries in Europe, a rooster was accused of laying an egg, and roosters can't lay eggs because they are males. Maybe it was a gay rooster, gay rooster rights.
Maybe it was a gay rooster. Listen.
So the rooster was accused of laying an egg, which is against nature, and the church put it on trial for witchcraft. And
I do remember this. Now that
the church convicted the rooster of practicing witchcraft and executed it. But I don't know if it's better or worse than the time when the church executed a bridge.
But did they eat it after, or?
I don't know. They probably burned it.
Probably.
But the church also executed a bridge.
What? As in destroyed it?
Yeah, they destroyed it. A bridge collapsed. I forgot where this was. And instead of like, did our engineering go bad? No, they accused the bridge of being like ungodly or something, and they put the bridge on trial. And it was convicted of murder, and they just blew it up and built a new bridge.
Listen, once again, church history is a fucking trip. It is a fucking trip.
I'm just saying, we've been talking about how like there's a lot of internet drama, and it's just because people have too much time. But I feel like some people had too much time also back then.
That's the thing. Like when people talk about like social media and this and that and da-da-da-da, social media has exasperated the problem for sure. Humans have been like this though.
We've been crazy.
We have been crazy. This is nothing new. It's just that we have a new forum to express said craziness on.
And no, we don't hide it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Have we ever, though? Like, have we ever hidden it?
Well,
It depends.
Putting a rooster on trial, or putting a dead pope on trial, actually, that's another one.
that is another one.
A dead pope was once put on trial. They dug his body up, or took his body out of the whatever, put his corpse in the papal robes, and were like, "You're a bad pope. You did shenanigans." So they convicted the dead Pope's body, defrocked it, cut its ring fingers off, and threw it in the Tiber River. It's like... Honestly, if I had political power, I would do some weird shit. Like, I would put a flower on trial for wilting too early. Like, this lilac bush is practicing witchcraft because it didn't bloom in time. Execute the lilac witch.
Do you think it's that they just get bored? Do you think that's what happens?
Probably.
Like, they just get bored. They just have so much power, and they just get bored. They're just like, well, this is no fun.
They get bored, and after that, they just fight on their own social media for...
Yeah. Listen, oh my God.
The girls are fighting.
The girls are fighting. The girls are fighting. Ooh.
Back in my day, we put animals on trial. We didn't fight. We didn't flame each other over our ship wars.
Like, one of them is about to go all Regina George on the other. And I mean, quite frankly, I love it. I hope they eat themselves alive.
I want both of them to lose.
Yeah.
We're talking about those two now?
Yeah, those two.
Yeah.
The girls are fighting,
The girls
man.
are fighting.
It's true, they are fighting.
It's like, I saw yesterday was such a funny day. Yeah, she was like, the girls are fighting. I saw multiple other people say, it's like Drake versus Kendrick, except they're both Drake, which is hilarious.
I saw somebody ask, who's going to get the incels in the divorce?
Oh
Honestly,
God.
I'm like, so I predicted that they would fall out in March. So I am a little impressed that they made it this long.
Same. It is genuinely shocking to have two of the biggest egomaniacs working together. Yeah, the fact that it lasted as long as it did is, quite frankly, a miracle.
And what's hilarious is that so many House Republicans have pledged to both, like, loyalty or, like, funds or something to both of them.
They have to choose now. They don't have to choose
So
that.
the thing is that I'm also not convinced that it's
not
like
a ploy.
genuine. Because,
they're not smart enough.
I mean, it's been done before, to plan a fight so that the stock would go down, and then you buy back, and then the stock go up again when they
reconcile.
When they reconcile.
Yeah.
I just don't think either one of them is intelligent enough to pull that off.
It's not even that. It's that, like, I feel like both of them have too much pride.
Mm-hmm. They're too dumb. They're too prideful.
Yeah, like, because, like, now, like, the wannabe astronaut, he is, like, threatening to reveal potentially very incriminating facts. And so, like, I don't know.
I'm like, please do.
Please do.
Please do.
But the thing is that I don't even believe the Democrats are going to do anything about that.
Oh no, the Democrats could snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
Listen, at least they're consistent, right? They're consistently
bad.
Right, yeah. No, they only win when the opposition is so heinous that...
And sometimes not even then.
And sometimes
not even then. My God.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride.
Happy Pride, the girls are fighting.
Happy Pride, the girls are fighting. That's the title.
The thing is that going to be still relevant in, like, 10 days?
It could be.
Oh, I have a suspicion it could be.
So, my answer is to default to Occam's razor. The simplest solution is usually the correct one. And old Donny Boy is too dumb and prideful, and old Muskrat is too dumb and too prideful. I would be shocked if this were a planned thing. People attribute way too much competency to Trump. Like, they attribute so much to him that just... And the thing is, like, he hasn't escaped, like, punishment because he's smart at covering his tracks. He's escaped because he's powerful and wealthy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because the government is corrupt as fuck.
Exactly. We all know he's a dumbass.
Yeah. He is not a smart man.
I wish I could tell it to his face.
Would love that for you.
I have a friend who knows really well how to imitate his voice. I can't do it, but like it's my game master for Blade in the Dark.
Excellent.
And sometimes
Do
after
they
a
bring the
game we
voice
just
out?
no, not during the game,
Okay.
but it just we have long conversation after the game, and sometimes there's a little bit of politics, which is rare because talking politics with British is kind of interesting in a sense. It feels like they don't talk about politics to anyone unless you're really friends.
Yes.
It's kind of like a step.
They're very proper. Like they're very
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And anyway, sometimes like when things are going on, it just brings a voice and he talks about the big tariff and he just please stop.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Sometimes I'm just like, I should just move to the UK and vote for the Scottish Independence Party. That's what I would do is immediately.
As I saying is that do you have UK citizenship? Because you can't vote without that.
Nope.
That's my problem. I've been in countries where I haven't been able to vote for a long time, and it's gonna take even further because if they indeed do what they've decided to change with respect to immigration, that means that me being able to officially like settle in the UK instead of taking 5 years is gonna take 10, and since you need another year then to ask for citizenship, that means no voting for many more years.
Jesus. Yikes.
Should try Ireland. I hear they're better.
Ireland is lovely.
Yeah, Ireland, do you know how long it would take me to freaking go home?
I don't know.
It would take some time.
Sometime. I wouldn't be able to drive down.
No, you would not.
Oh, right.
You would not. There's just a little bit of water in your way.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah.
Just a wee bit of wet.
Just a tad.
A wee
Yeah.
bit.
Oh, a wee bit of wet. Oh,
A little bit of moist.
oh.
Oh,
A little
no.
bit
worse.
of splish splash.
Worse.
I think it may be a good time actually to end this.
Yeah.
And this delightful conversation that was not about Kenk and
Yeah.
Ajas.
But you know what? I had a great time.
I did too.
I had a great
This was
time.
great.
We'll talk about Kinks another time.
Another
We'll talk about
yes.
kinks another time.
On this, thank you very much for listening to this episode of The Queers of Time. As always, you can find us on many social media, including Blue Sky, Tumblr, TikTok, Instagram. We also have a Discord that is very nice. You should join. And if you want to support us, we have a Patreon on which you can get early episode and unedited videos. And that's about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Hey, I stayed serious the whole time.
You did.
You did.
You did.
I did not laugh in the middle of it.
No.
Okay, anyway, bye. Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.